Something big is happening on YouTube right now. Three major trends are all colliding at the same time, along with a huge update to the algorithm. YouTube is entering easy mode right now, especially for smaller creators. Now, I've been on YouTube for 6 years, and I've never seen something quite like this. One of my channels has over 1.3 million subs, and I'm still going and starting a smaller channel. And I'm not kidding when I say this is the biggest opportunity. Whether you've already been on YouTube or you've just been waiting for the right moment to start, well, this is your sign to go all in. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the three major YouTube trends right now, and then how you can take advantage of them to grow your audience and also boost your revenue, right? Who doesn't want more revenue? But first, we need to understand the major YouTube algorithm update. Have you noticed something weird about YouTube recommendations? I'm seeing a lot of small creators popping up on my home feed. And when I'm browsing on my mobile, it's always in the same 5th or 6th position down. The order is almost predictable at this point. It goes long form video, then shorts, then another long form video, and then the news, and then another long form video, and then the small channel. And I definitely haven't seen these creators before, but the algorithm knows me. And so some of these suggestions I would actually be interested in. So because these small channels are getting recommended at the top, they're getting so much exposure. So all of this is happening because YouTube made a big update to their algorithm to push small creators. The director of YouTube growth and discovery has confirmed that there's an entire team dedicated to helping small creators. YouTube is pushing updates like these and other recent ones like the hype feature to help emerging creators gain more visibility. Now, that's only the beginning, because at the same time, with the algorithm update, we're also seeing the convergence of major YouTube trends that make it easier to capitalize on this opportunity. The first trend is something really surprising in the world of television. When we talk about TV and streaming, I would assume that it would be Netflix who dominates this space, but I was wrong. And no, it's not Disney Plus, it's not even Hulu, it's YouTube. YouTube beat Netflix in streaming watch hours at 9.9%. People are going to YouTube more than anywhere else. And the big question is, why is this happening? I think this comment summarizes it really well. YouTube feels more human to human. That's why I prefer it as an entertainment platform. I also feel like I can actually learn something while simultaneously being entertained. It also supplements human interaction whenever I feel unavoidably isolated. There's a lot to unpack in that comment, but every sentiment is hitting home for me. You can actually learn something. That's huge. Hold on to that thought because we're gonna come back to that in a minute. But I want to emphasize this human to human aspect first. Look, it was always fun for me to see creators that I follow on YouTube get their own shows on Netflix. Like, it felt like they made it, right? Like Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich. When I saw that pop up on Netflix, I instantly clicked. Or more recently, Logan Yuri with The Later Daters. I actually made a video about her book a while back, so it was definitely fun to see her make it onto Netflix. But just as prestigious as getting onto Netflix, we saw this year that huge celebrities went from mainstream or Hollywood to YouTube, like Tom Brady, who just started his YouTube channel like 3 months ago, or Ronaldo, who also started his YouTube channel this year, and within a few hours, he already had 5 million subscribers. People are coming to YouTube for a more raw and more real feeling, and oftentimes just less high production, fancy editing that you'd expect from Netflix or Hollywood. So you don't need fancy editing or expensive equipment to show up next to the big players on YouTube. In fact, it could hurt you in some cases. I'm right now thinking about the mainstream media, right? They're always polished, they're always edited, and yet they seem to not have as strong of an influence on the news or on this election cycle compared to the more independent podcasts, which are lower production, but they feel more trustworthy to people. But that's a whole other can of worms that we're not gonna open up in this video. But this takes us to trend number 2, which builds off of the idea of more raw human connection. Have you seen this video? This video defies all conventional wisdom about how to grow on YouTube. Look at this title. I was an MIT educated neurosurgeon, now I'm unemployed and alone in the mountains, how did I get here? What? That's got to be the longest, most unoptimized YouTube title I have ever seen. And look at this thumbnail. It looks like he just let YouTube pull a random screenshot from his video. Not something that most YouTubers would ever do, but it worked. This guy got like 10 million views in less than a month, and at the time, his channel was relatively unknown. This is a great example of the YouTube algorithm recommending a small channel, by the way. But what's more important is to notice his low production style. It's just him with his phone in the mountains. No fancy lighting, no jump cuts or transitions. He's just telling a story for 48 minutes straight. And people feel like they're just hanging out with him and getting to know him as a human being. This return to simple production style is a trend that we saw this year across YouTube. Channels like Sam Sulek, who posts videos with no fancy editing, it's just hanging out with him while he's going to the gym or making some food. So that's good news for us because it costs a lot of money to go all out on having high production quality and high retention editing. And take it from us, we've spent $20,000, $30,000 per month in expenses to support such a media company. So if you've been waiting to get a good camera or build a good studio, then here's your sign that maybe you don't need it. And I definitely gotta point this out too, since I'm in the entrepreneur space, but I see a lot of the simple whiteboard videos from people like Simon Squibb, Charlie Morgan, and Alex Hormozi. Nothing fancy, just an intimate hangout where it's really just focused on quality education. Now that takes us to our third big trend here, and it has to do with quality education. This is not only a trend that affects YouTube, but it affects the entire landscape of the education system as we know it. Take a look at this graph. It shows that the number of young people going to college has been on the decline in recent years. At least in the US, people just don't look at the traditional education system the same way they used to. Going to college and getting a degree doesn't necessarily guarantee you quality education. Now at the same time, look at this graph. It shows the massive movement of people seeking education online, projecting a massive growth of online learning in years to come. Education is going through a revolution. I'll even throw in this graph here. Take a look at how much homeschooling has grown. We see this trend reaching all the way into Gen Alpha, which means that this education revolution is only going to keep growing. So as we see people relying less on big institutions and colleges and more on the internet for education, we see this great democratization of education. At some point where these graphs intersect, that's where we, as educational creators, want to be ready to meet this demand. Over 3 billion people are searching in the YouTube search bar per day. They're looking to learn something. This makes YouTube the second largest search engine in the world. The largest one being Google, which owns YouTube. So technically, YouTube is part of the largest search engine in the world. People are looking to learn on YouTube. They want real human-to-human connection with creators, and the advantage of a small or mid-sized creator is that they can build a more intimate community, and YouTube is pushing these small creators for more exposure. So as you can see, all of these trends are colliding and creating this serendipity. It's never been easier to become a creator, but now is also the perfect time to go all in, especially with the emerging tools and AI that we have at our disposal. According to this study, on average, full-time creators expect to bring in approximately $108,000 in revenue in 2023, with 45% saying that their creator business is the primary source of income for their household. So the data speaks for itself. Now, if you're a creator and you've been grinding and working hard and you're wondering, why haven't I gotten a breakthrough yet? Well, we're here to help you.